Hi, how you doing? Hello, I'm Mark, and we are at the Nevada Northern Railway National Historic Landmark in Ely, Nevada. And behind me here is Locomotive 81. And where my hand was is where the Bissell post for Locomotive 81 belongs. Locomotive 81 was purchased by the railroad in 1917 to haul the freight trains from here all the way up to Cobre, which is the beginning of the railroad, 139.1 miles away from here. That's what she did all the way up through the late 1950s. She was actually replaced by Locomotive 401, and then she was retired, sat outside for 30 years waiting for her moment in the sun. We actually did a restoration of her in the early 2020s. What we didn't know is during the day, just before they took her out of service, she had a derailment and it goobered up the entire pilot truck. And that is why she's in the shop right now with no pilot wheel. On steam locomotives, we go by their wheel arrangement. Locomotive 81 is a 280. The 2 stands for 2 pilot wheels, the 8 stands for 8 driving wheels, and the 0 means we have no trailing wheels. And as you can see, we're missing the pilot wheel. In fact, the pilot wheel is on the ground right over there. So let's go take a look at the pilot truck, and then we'll go take a look at the rest of her equipment right this way. Okay, this is the pilot truck for Locomotive 81. Nice and shiny, and you can see here the axles are nice and shiny too. When we took it all apart, the flange was worn on one side and not the other, so we thought we'd true it up. We went to true it up and we couldn't true it up. We measured the axle and we found out the axle was bent. Why was the axle bent? Well, one thing led to another and we discovered why. This is the bearing surface right here. The big bearing will sit on that. It is lubricated by oil. It is highly polished and we want to keep it that way. These are additional parts. You can see these are brand new pins. We had to make new pins. We had to weld a lot of the different pieces up. We're in the preservation business here. We're preserving this. During the day, when that derailment happened, the diesels were already here. Management said, you know what? Bubblegum it, get it out. We're not going to put any more money into this than we absolutely have to. Well, they did a pretty good job because they sure fooled us. These are all of the different parts here. These are called the heart links, and you can see why, because this is heart-shaped. And if you look really, really close, you see the discoloration here? That is weld. We had to build this up for this to actually operate. And that gives you an idea of how worn it was. We made all the new bolts for it, had to clean up different pieces and take care of wear. This piece here was incredibly frustrating. When Baldwin sent this to us in 1917, it was flawed. And Baldwin did a repair and sort of hid it. Over the course of her career here, she developed other issues. These holes here, instead of being circular, were elliptical. Elliptical is not a good thing to have. The pins started looking like crankshafts. You can see the wear there. You can see our welds here. And then after it was welded, we had to machine everything down. It was quite the process to do. This is part of the pilot truck here. And again, this gave us additional hints. If you stand right here and look up, you'll notice these two rods aren't symmetrical. And not only that, if you look right here, you can see these two wear spaces. This has been rubbing on something. It just wasn't right. It's all calawampus. And if you stand here and look down, this rod should be bent over here slightly more. You can see a weld mark on the bottom here. This was cut and welded back together. In the process of doing that, they didn't get it square. But again, this is the end of steam here at the Nevada Northern Railway. It's a financial decision. This locomotive is going to be retired. How much money are you going to put into it? You're going to put in minimal money just to get her out the door. We found some loose rivets on the boiler. And so what we had to do is replace those rivets, and the shiny ones are the new ones. The rusty ones are from 1917. We were very successful at that. She's now steam tight again. And this all started on the morning's inspection. Before an engineer will take a steam locomotive out, they'll do what they call the hammer test. They will take the hammer to all the nuts and tap them. And they're listening for what type of noise it makes. Well, the engineer on this morning comes up to this big nut here, and he taps it, and the nut falls off. This is 2 3/4 inches of steel, and it looked like it was cut with a hot knife through butter. It was just a smooth cut, and that was our first indication that something was wrong. And we thought all we have to do is replace the Bissell post, and then life will be good. Well, if you've ever worked on an old house or car, you go, well, I'm just going to do this project right here. Oh, wait a minute, to do that project, I need to do this project. And to do this project, I need to do this project. And that's what we found out here. And you see the divot there? The Bissell post was pounding on the axle. Again, after that derailment, everything became calawampus, and until that nut sheared off, we had no idea. What we do here when we have an issue is we try to go through the entire piece and make it right, because our original thought was just to do the Bissell post, but again, the more we got into it, the more we found wrong, and rather than just cobbling something together, we actually wanted to go back to the plans from Baldwin in 1917, and that's exactly what we did here. And we have different parts here. This is part of the journal. The journal will sit up here, the brass rather, and this piece will slide up and down. And this is Babbitt here for wear. And if we walk over this way, watch your head. Here are the original plans, the forward equal beam. And if you look right there, it says the Baldwin Locomotive Works, Philadelphia. And so there's the beam plans, and we'll walk over there and take a look at it. But Ken here has spent hours and hours and hours welding things up to cut things down, to weld them up to cut things down. And it's been one heck of a job, but we're getting close. Yeah, we're getting close. And once we're done, that part of the locomotive will be good for the next century. Here, let's walk to the other side. And this is Tristan, and Tristan is making bushings for Locomotive 81, and he's checking his work. How long have you been a machinist?
Oh, about 4 months now.
About 4 months now. We started him young. He, again, taking pieces of metal and turning it into fine parts. This is all part of this giant jigsaw puzzle that we'll be putting together. And so the cool thing is that we can do a lot of this work here and at the same time train the next generation to keep these things going. This part that Ken is making is a binder that went underneath the pilot. Now, I was down here earlier and I asked Ken, can I see the original part? And he says, there isn't one. It disappeared sometime. And so we have the original plans, and this is on the original plans. So Ken is making a new binder for the pilot from scratch using these plans. And this is the forward equalizing beam. And again, these are the plans from 1917. And if you take a look here, this end piece was worn so much that when Ken went to weld it, machine it the first time, he put it all up on the Lucas here. He ran the tooling in and he machined air. You can't do much machining air, and that's when we found this was worn way out of spec. So he's welded it up and it's waiting for its turn in the Lucas, and once he has it there, we're that much closer. And of course, there's R2-D3, and he had a very long night. He was out on the haunted ghost train, so he's taking a cat nap. If you're going to run century-old equipment, you're going to find things that you never expected before, and that's exactly what happened with Locomotive 81. After we did her restoration, she ran just fine. In fact, the crews loved her, and we called her our Goldilocks locomotive, because Locomotive 93 here is too big for what we do. Locomotive 40 is really too small for what we do. And Locomotive 81 is just right. So, if you want to see these marvelous machines run, I encourage you to become a member of the museum. It is membership that keeps these big wheels turning here. It's as simple as that. From the Nevada Northern Railway National Historic Landmark in Ely, Nevada, I hope to see you down the tracks. And if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe and put a question in the comments, and we'll try and get that answer back to you.